Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Y'all have a good weekend.
I did.
Well, that's good. That was all. We were just worried about Steve having a good weekend, so glad to
Well,
hear.
I got a grandbaby Thursday afternoon. So
Oh, well, congratulations.
thank you.
Everybody healthy?
Everybody did great.
Good. Tennessee didn't do too well this weekend.
Well, everybody but Tennessee did. Yeah, they got punched in the mouth and they couldn't respond back.
Man, I tell you, that running back on Missouri,
He was a pretty bad boy.
yeah, he's a beast.
Don't worry about it. Well, Georgia take care of everything.
You know, you're probably right.
Well, they have for 3 years for sure.
Let me tell you, Alabama though has that quarterback didn't do well in the first part of the year, but he seems to be doing a whole lot better now.
He really is. I think the SEC championship will be Georgia, Alabama. I think Georgia will beat Alabama, but it will only be by like a field goal or a touchdown.
It'll
Or
be
they're both already in it. They're both clinched already.
So
right.
they have like I said, Georgia win. They'll win by a touchdown or a field goal.
I'll tell you what, with Saban, you just never know because Alabama's improved week after week after week. It seems like
They've gotten better each week.
hmm
He's a machine for sure.
The man can coach.
That's true. All right, well, we'll get started. As always, I'd like to hear if anybody had any wins this week, any contracts, any meetings, any conversations.
Hmm.
Well, I guess I'm still working. We're still working on getting this listing up and running. But again, it just comes back to we're building and establishing a relationship with a guy and his wife that bought that didn't have a pleasurable experience, and we're just trying to rebuild and reestablish that you can trust a real estate agent.
Yeah, there's there's some out there that will take that trust away, and it's hard for you to build it back for sure.
Yeah, and
So,
along with us doing that, building that relationship, it's going to build that rapport and get us referrals down the road from them.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I think today what you'll find, what we're starting to get into now that we're out of the CRM, uh, is we're going after those listings, and obviously with the listings, you get buyer leads, and you can grow from there. But listings are a key factor in extra buyers. And is this house you're doing in the neighborhood, uh, Christopher?
No, it's not.
Okay,
No.
that makes it always a little bit harder for we're going to be talking farming today.
Hmm.
I don't know if any of you all have done it, but that's what we're going to go over. We're going to and talk about how to utilize CRS tax map to prospect those areas. So, but one of the first things we always want to do is define what that farming area looks like. What are you looking for? So, Steve, I know you live in a subdivision. Oscar, I know you live in a subdivision. Although Oscar's subdivision is new, most of the people are probably not ready to move, but you still want to establish yourself as that neighborhood expert. It should bother you just a little bit every time you see another agent sign go up in your neighborhood. It just means they didn't know that, hey, somebody that lives here is an agent. So as we establish those neighborhoods, the things we're looking for is some kind of turnover rate, the churn rate of homes in the neighborhood. We're looking for you actually knowing a little bit about the neighborhood, the median size lots, the median size sales price, the median size square footage, know some of those plans. So if you've ever shown like an old South home or a few old South homes, those plans uh, pretty much when you walk in them. You know where the main bedrooms are going to be. You know where things are in those plans after you've shown a few those homes. So it's the same thing here. I know in Oscar subdivision, there's probably what 7 or 8 plans they build there. Would you say?
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah. So if you can get to know those plans, that just help you. When you are talking back to them, again, it's getting back to know your product. So if you're farming a neighborhood, you need to know that neighborhood, know the product, know the things about it that are important. If somebody was saying, "Okay, I'm looking to sell," what do you know about this neighborhood? Again, creating the trust and building yourself as that market expert. So know your market, know the neighborhood, know the product, and then uh, we want to start looking at neighborhoods that have a churn rate. So what I mean by churn rate is we want to look for something probably over 5% a year. So if a neighborhood's got, oh, I don't know, let's say 300 homes in it, and 20 of them sell throughout that year. Well, 20 divided by 300 is 6 point something. So that's above 5%. So that would be a good neighborhood. So out of those 20 homes, if you were the neighborhood expert and half of them used you, that's 10 listings. Let's say 25% only used you. Well, that's 5 listings. So always, look for that churn rate, look for that absorption rate, and know those things that are happening in the neighborhood all the time. So, and once you know them, and then again, we talked about market reports and send those market reports out, and that's what we're going to kind of evaluate here. How do we find all that stuff out? How do we determine? Because a lot of neighborhoods are got a lot of absentee owners. In other words, it's a rental type of market. Uh, so those neighborhoods are just a little different because when you got a bunch of progressives or America's Homes for Rent owning a bunch of homes in there, they're like that churn rate. I mean, even though they may have bought a home that year, they're probably not going to sell it for a long time. They're going to hold that home for a while. So to get the CRS tax so that we can actually look at this data, if you go up to search, most of you know how to get CRS tax. And then once we're here, so you put in the county. Well, actually, we're going to go to prospecting first. And once you're into prospecting, you can put whatever county in here. So if you are looking at homes in Williamson County, or if you want to do Wilson County, you're driving in Wilson County, you see a subdivision that say, okay, this is a lot like the subdivision I know, or I like, or I really like. I've shown 5 homes in this neighborhood, and I know this neighborhood pretty well. Or if you have a listing in a neighborhood, you should really think about farming that neighborhood, even if you got one listing, or even United Real Estate's got a listing in there if the other agent's not farming it. So here you go. We got Rutherford County. You can type in the subdivision right there. Y'all can't see my screen, correct? So if I type in Blackman Farm, the one I use most of the time, then you see all these different sections in the Blackman Farm subdivision. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of them in here. So I hit the whole neighborhood. And that's going to give me.
Will it tell you exactly how many houses in that neighborhood like that?
Yes, it will. That's what I'm trying to pull up here now. So now when we pull this up, I may have this already filled in. Let me make sure. Then you can pick your owner type. So if you want owner occupied or absentee or out of state, there you go. There's 106 homes meet that criteria. The other thing, a lot of times you want to look at is let's look at mortgage history. So we know per NAR every 5 years is 5 years is that magic point where people start thinking of once they've owned a home and getting ready to think about moving or sell. We could look at that. So you can put whatever years you want in here, 10 years, whatever. So here now that shows me 52 homes in this neighborhood. Okay, now this has got some investments in it. So let's say we want to take out those investment owners. So we go back to ownership type. I take out the absentee owners. And I update it. That gives me 41 homes that are owner occupied with mortgages in that 10-year range. Okay, so these are good people that you would want to start farming to. So the cool thing about this is once we have all that, we can go to create labels right here, and it'll actually create the labels. You just pick what if you go to Office Depot or whatever, if you buy the Avery 5160 or 61s or 62s, you just want to click which one there. And then all you're going to do is create the labels, and it'll create a PDF, and you just make sure that paper's in your printer and it prints out those addresses for you. So all you now do. So in this case scenario, what I would do is if I did this with these specific 41 people in this neighborhood, I would take that and I would start sending them market reports. Okay. Because right now, all we got is their name and their address. We don't have their emails. So I know it's expensive per se, as far as you got stamps and you got some printing, you got some time and effort, stuff envelopes. But if you send them market reports, and one thing I would do is send them like 3 market reports each month. Try to do it on about the same time so they know when they get it what it's going to be. And then maybe on that 3rd or 4th month, say, hey, would you like to have this sent to your email instead of your mail? And have a QR code that would take them to your landing page to sign up for the market report. Now they're just getting it mailed to them all the time. Okay, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to take people we don't know. We're sending a market report showing, hey, we know what we're talking about. We know this area. The more you do it, the more they trust you. Every now and then you're going to sprinkle that in with like Halloween, you could have mailed them something on everywhere to find all the fall festivals. Christmas time, you can send them something, all the places in Middle Tennessee to go to see Christmas lights, or all the events going on. So sprinkle that in there. And as you get their data, then I take them off the mailings that you're sending out all the time, because you don't want to, email them a market report once they signed up, and then also mail it to them at the same time. They just need it one way. But once you had let's say out of these 41, 20 of them sign up. Well, now they're in your database. They're in your CRM, and I would tag them farming. This case hashtag farm hashtag Blackman Farm. So you know how you got them and how and why they're in your system. And then when you start seeing those people open up your market reports all the time, they're looking at them, they're involved with them. That's the people I would reach out to. Those are the people I would make phone calls to. Those are the people I would send a handwritten note to, and keep providing them those valuable things. So, you get a subdivision that's got 500, 600 homes in them. I think this one had 300 something homes in it. You're going to have 60, 70 owner occupieds. But you get into higher dollar homes, let's say, like Breckenridge or like Berkshire, something like that. You're probably not going to see the churn rate quite as much. Doesn't mean you can't do it there, but you're not going to see it quite as much. We'll tell you, if Christopher's home was going to be in a subdivision, that's the perfect time to start farming that neighborhood. Because one, you can start out with an announcement, hey, this home is listed or it's coming soon. Anybody that wants to move here, and start gathering that information just from the neighbors. You've heard of nosy neighbors. Well, they're nosy when you got a listing. You have an open house in the neighborhood, about half the people show up are going to be neighbors. If any of you all have done open houses, you know what I'm talking about. But that's fine. You just want to get their information so that you can start building trust with them, so that you can start building, that you're the neighborhood expert. And so hopefully when they go sell, they're going to use you. So you can do more research if you go to RealTrax and just do a CRM for that neighborhood over the last 6 months, what's sold, what hasn't sold, how many days are on the market. I mean, because when you know those things, and you can spit them off, and oh yeah, I know that house. Yeah, it sold I mean, and can just talk like that. That, you know, when you're talking to them, that just proves that you're that expert. And once you get one listing from this, and then you go out and you can even door knock with it, something like this very easily, invite them to your open house. Gives you something to go to the door for, and just let them know that, hey, we're holding a neighborhood open house. Maybe it's just specially for the neighborhood, and invite them to come by. Um, and now, not only have they already seen you with market reports and emails and mailings, now you've gone to meet them, and now you actually got a listing. So it shows that you're in that neighborhood and you're the person to talk to. And then remember, with all these listings, if you do it right, you should be getting at least 5 to 10 buyer leads off of them on every one. So that's why I like listings, and that's why over the next month or so we're going to talk about going and getting those listings. So has anybody ever farmed a neighborhood? All right.
I haven't farmed one, but they call me the mayor of this street here.
That's fair. And they know you're a real estate agent because you put a sign in your yard. So remember last week we talked about community. What Angela's doing with the Santa Claus, the pictures, and she's going around to the neighborhood, in her neighborhood. She is working her way. I mean, she's farming it, but she's also creating community because that's the neighborhood she lives in. So it's a great way for people to know. You know, unless there's a close relationship, if they may know a couple of realtors, but with doing stuff like what she's doing with Santa Claus and getting reports out to these people, they're most likely going to think of her. And unless it's like a relative or something they have to use.
Rick,
But yeah.
hey, so I had my event yesterday. With
Okay.
Sam. He came. We ended up setting up inside, and I want to say I had a roughly 10 families that came, which wasn't a huge turnout considering I did flyers to like 240 houses. But out of those 10, like one of the neighbors that came was so excited. She went on the Facebook, the neighborhood page, and like posted to tell people like, hey, you should go, like you got an hour left until he leaves. But everybody that came talked about how great of a Santa that he was. And overall, everybody seemed very pleased with him. And with,
Good.
you know, they were taking their own pictures, and I had one of the neighbors actually ask me, he goes, you're a real estate agent, aren't you? Right. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, there's actually one of my cards did candy canes. My marketing assistant, Janelle, came up with the idea to do candy canes and tie my business cards to them and give them to everybody. And so his kid had one of those. So I was like, my business card's on the candy cane. So
Go.
we'll see what the turnout, you know, what, if anything comes out of it. But
Yeah.
I know people in the neighborhood have been complaining that there's no neighborhood events or anything happening. So hopefully I can keep it going and people will
So
be happy.
Angela, this would be a good time to follow up with market updates that you print and actually mail or go hand out or whatever, because they've gotten a flyer from you doing something for them. Now you're establishing your, and that's community. Now, as you build your neighborhood expertise as a real estate agent, and just give them market updates for that neighborhood. So whether anything happened or not, just say, hey, just let you know nothing happened. We're still averaging median sales price in this neighborhood this, Murfreesboro's this, you know, and show them the difference between what their home's doing. People all want to know that, and I think you've offered them something, you know, of value as far as community goes. Now, if you can soon follow up with something on real estate value, would be awesome.
Would you send it like to all 240 houses or just to the?
Just all owner occupied ones.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, because what you and yes, it costs a little money. It's a little more time consuming right now. But as time goes on and you get these people's email addresses, it's like I said earlier, you send 2 or 3 out and then start sending them, hey, would you like to have this sent to your email instead of mail? And then have a QR code. When they flash that QR code, they go to that landing page that I showed you how to build for market updates out of KV Core. And once they've done that, then you got their contact and you stop emailing. I take them off the mailings and stop mailing. And then after that, once you watch your KV Core, you see say 5 people in your neighborhood opening up those market reports and interacting with them. That's when I'd follow up with a handwritten note to them on after that or a phone call. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the market reports. Do you have any questions? Is there anything I can do to help? So, anyway, that's great. I'm glad to hear that you had a okay turnout at least and got some interest.
Yeah, I mean, and worse, I mean, even if no one had showed up, I got pictures of my family and my kids with Santa, so that worked out great.
You're gonna have to pay for that anyway, weren't you?
Right.
Anybody else do anything farming or community they want to share? Well, I hope this helped. Do you have any questions about farming?
Marla put a chat in the box about where the market reports, when they open it, where you would see it at.
Oh, in your KV Core on your database, if you go to those people, or if you tag them right, let's say, we talked about tag, if they hashtag a market report, and I did, in this case, again, I did Blackman Farm, hashtag market report, hashtag Blackman Farm, you can pull that up and you can see everybody that's getting those market reports. You can see when they open up their emails from KV Core. And Marla, if you need help with that, reach out to me. I'll show you exactly where that is and what it looks like. But if you're looking at your database every morning on your dashboard, it shows you everybody that's opened up communication with you. And and if you let too many days go by, it kind of gets a little lost. Because if you have 15, 20 people on your database that you got on home searches, it's all, your dashboard is going to show all activity that's happening over time. So that's why I like to just get in your database for at least 30 minutes to an hour a day. Just check your dashboard every morning just for a few minutes at least, just to see what's happening overnight. So a lot of people look at stuff overnight. So I hope that helps and answers your question. But if you need help looking at that, just let me know and I'll be glad to show you. Again, all this ties back to our database, all this ties back to our CRM, and because that's how you're going to manage all this as you get people. But like I say, I think farming is a great way. It's not a quick one. Yes, I've sent letters out and gotten one listing right away. It's happened, but most of that stuff is over time. Most agents will start farming and will quit within a few months because they didn't see anything. It's a ongoing thing, but it works. If you think of anybody out there, I can think of somebody over here on can't think of the neighborhood off of Blade or off of Fortress, but they're the agent in there. Everybody knows they're the agent. Angela, where's that Jessica Warner? The what over here off of Fortress neighborhood?
What?
What's that neighborhood off of Fortress that I think Jessica Warner's in there all over the place?
Is that Puckett Station?
Puckett Station, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Angela.
I know my neighborhood.
But yeah, and then also remember, you're not gonna see the churn rate in brand new neighborhoods. Looks like I was talking, Oscar, your neighborhood's brand new. You're not gonna see people. I mean, they will. You'll see a house. Somebody's been in there a year. They'll be moving. So you want to start now, but you're not going to see the churn rate like you do in a lot of these neighborhoods. So the Case of Lane area, and I think in Rutherford County, the case of any of those Case of Lane subdivisions, and don't forget townhome communities; those are good too. People are always moving them. So, all right. Well, hey, this week's play, I want everybody to identify at least one neighborhood that you'd like to farm. Again, use your CRS tax to see how many owner occupied homes are there. See how many homes actually have mortgages over so many, at least 5 years in length. You can also go to length of ownership on this. Excuse me. You got mortgage age, but you can go to length of ownership on here too. And then, and you can also break this down by school district. You decide you want to, I wouldn't get too broad, and you don't want to get into probably more than 500 homes. That's a lot of work, and you'll get burned out real quick. The size of Blackman Farm, 300 homes, is a good size. Angela's neighborhood she's talking about is a good size. If you can stay in that 200 to 300 range, and with at least 5% or greater churn rate, homes seen, sold, and bought, I think that's a good neighborhood to do. So if you can identify those and just start out with I'll post a letter that you can introduce yourself. We'll get it on attached to this video so that you can use that and customize it how you would want to. Introducing yourself, letting them know that, hey, I'm going to be sending market reports. If you'd rather have this by email, create a QR code going to your landing page. Again, we showed you how to make that landing page. You just make a QR code to that URL, and it would take them right there. They sign up, and then you can take them off a mailing. But I think the first few mailings need to be, you'll have to mail to you that information. So, any questions at all? All right, and if you got listings in neighborhoods, definitely be farming those neighborhoods for sure, because you've already got a presence there. All right, well, don't forget on Thursday, I forgot to look up the topic. Thursday's VOP broker open, but I'll get that out on video on Wednesday and remind you about CRS tax. And but anyway, I want to hear what farms y'all pick next week on Monday. Okay.